Hello, guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you, and this message it was sent to me by one of our admins. The message reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my story as anonymous? I have come here to confess on behalf of my father, even though my father, each and every place where he has gone to, he have tried to confess. They used to say that if you confess your sin, then God is going to feel sorry for you. But I do not know why God does not want to feel sorry for my father, because honestly, when I am speaking with the old man each and every time, he says that he truly regrets all of the things that he did when he was still able bodied. So, my father, I don't think that he has that opportunity to be on social media. That is why I have come here on the platform. If there is any traditional healer that can assist me so that I can assist my father, and he will be able to enjoy the few years that he has left in his life. My father, my brother, he used to work in the mines. He was operating a truck, those trucks that usually just works in the mine. That was the truck that he was operating. The story that my father told me is that when he was still able-bodied, he dated a lot of women, and truly speaking, he does not even know. He says that all of the women that he was dating, he does not know which of those women's husband ended up using charms on him, because he said that with the money that he was earning, it made him to sleep around with a lot of women. So my father said that the woman whom he suspects, this woman, she was coming from Durban. Usually this woman, she would come so that she can be with her husband at the mine. Then it happened that my father got the opportunity to speak with that woman when she had came to see her husband at the hostel, and he then saw that this woman, she was loose, and then they started dating. So my father would be sleeping around with that woman, and it happened that this woman fell in love with my father, and she moved from her home and she came and started staying with her husband in the hostel, even though the husband didn't like everything that the wife was doing. Then my father had a confrontation with that man whom he was cheating on with that man's wife. After the confrontation, the man could not do anything, because a lot of people, they were scared. Back in the days when he was still strong, you could see that no one would even attempt to mess around with him. Even if you would know that he had been dating your wife, there is nothing that you could do about him. He was just gangster looking like that. So my father said that when the man saw that this issue, if it was not handled properly, then the issue was going to make my father retaliate. The last words that this man told my father was, I want to see if you are a man, and if you are a man, then I will know that God has failed me. At the time when this man said that he wanted to see if my father was a real man, my father didn't even understand. But with time, my father said that he started to experience erectile dysfunction. When he would be with any woman, he would see that his man would get inside, and it would become so small, and it would look like it was a child's manhood. And as time went on, whenever his man would have gone back inside, then his man would never come out again. And when he saw that he was experiencing erectile dysfunction, he then spoke with some men who came from Malawi but were working on that same hostel. That was when one man who had a family there in Zim said that if he would go back to Zim, if he had the money, he was going to come back with strong charms, and those charms, they were going to make my father to be okay. Because according to my father, he said that anyone who had done these charms on him, what he had been told by those foreign guys that he was working with, they had used a tortoise. You know, like when a tortoise is afraid, the way that it gets inside its shell. That is what my father's manhood would be doing if he is about to make love to a woman. And my father was saying that his manhood kept on getting smaller and smaller. Even right now, as a child, I can never look at my father's nakedness, but my father only said that there is nothing there left. It all went inside. And even when he wants to urinate, he said that he struggles a lot, and his legs, they are always swollen, as well as his testicles, they are always swollen because of those charms. And according to those men that assisted my father, they said that if my father does not get proper assistance, then one day his testicles, they are going to grow so big and they are going to burst. They said that they will grow big like a balloon, then they are going to pop, and my father will not be able to recover. This problem, my father, I can say that he started experiencing that challenge. This was somewhere 10 years ago. That is when he started experiencing that challenge. And up until today, my father, he is still suffering. On most occasion, when I'll be speaking with my father, he is always crying because he says that especially when it is hot, he can't even sit properly because it will be very painful down there. He has gone to the hospital, but still they can't even provide for him the proper medication because no one knows what is causing his manhood to keep going inside and being so small like that. And at the same time, my brother, the testicles, they are growing bigger and bigger. The other issue that my father is facing is that when he gave that man who said that he was from Malawi but he had a family in Zim, that man went, and when he came back, he then gave my dad some charms to use, and these charms my father was supposed to drink, and the idea was that by the time that he will be urinating, then the charms, they were going to clean each and everything that was blocking his system. So after my father had drank all of those charms, my father says that usually what happens in his dream when he will be sleeping, he says that each and every time when he has those dreams, he would be by the river surrounded by a lot of white women. And usually those women, they would start to sleep with my father. And when my father wakes up, he says that he usually feels hot down there, like a man that has been sleeping around with a lot of women. And this thing, it can't even stop. My father and I, we have tried to drive around visiting a lot of guys from Zim, asking how can we remove this spell. We have wasted a lot of money, my brother. We once met another prophet who said that I knew how to remove this spell, and this spell could only be removed if we were going to buy a lock and he was going to unlock it. We went and we bought that lock, but when we went back to that man who was from Zim, he said that we had bought the wrong lock. He said that he only knew where he said that he was the one who knew where to find that lock, and you know how much he charged us for those small locks that they sell in the Makula shops. He said that the lock that was needed, it was going to cost us 2.5k. It is a lot of money just to buy a lock, but simply because I wanted my father to get healed, I then gave that money to that man who was from Zim. And after I had given him the money, he just disappeared, feeling disappointed and at the same time not wanting to dump my parent. I kept on going around. I have met a lot of people who claim to know how to remove this sickness that is living inside my father's body. But most of them, they demand a lot of money. Usually, they say that for the first consultation, they just need somewhere around 9,000 to 10,000. But I can't afford it because it is a lot of money. And the other reason why I do not want to keep on forking out my money, it is because I have been robbed before by that guy who was from Zim, who claimed to know how to unlock this disease that my father is suffering from. My father currently, he is surviving by us buying those adult diapers for him, but he is still able bodied. But usually when he wants to urinate, the pee just comes out. He does not have any control over his pee. Even when he wants to poo, it just comes out without any control. I have even visited some local traditional healers, but one man said that if I can only take him to Zim, there are people that can assist me, because the locking system that was put on my father, that man said that it seemed as if it is a traditional healer who comes from that country who created that charm, and it is very difficult for it to get removed here in South Africa. But if I say that today I want to drive with my father so that we can go there to Zim, where am I going to go to? I do not know anyone on I do not know anyone in Zim on social media. I do not want to communicate with those guys. Most of them, they are just scammers. I tried communicating with a few of them, but immediately I realized that these are just chance takers, because they just said that they can even do it on the phone, but they want money. They wanted me to send the money there to Zim. Some of them, they can pretend like they are in Zim, but you would find out that when it is time to send money, they will tell you that send the money on ShopRite or do an e-wallet. Then you will see that this one, they are just chance takers. So if there is anyone who knows any traditional healer who is here, who is a local traditional healer, I'll be very happy. I can even travel with my father. Then we can go there so that he can get assistance. And if my father gets any assistance, I'll come back and I'll give you my testimony. When it comes to praying, my brother, how can you pray over such a disease? When I want to pray, my wife, she is a prayer warrior. But as for me, I do not have any strength left. How can I pray for my father's manhood to be okay again? I just feel powerless. So I think, like the way that I was told by that traditional healer, this thing, it can only be cured in the African way, because the charms that were used, they were the African charms that they were used. So prayer cannot remove them. Forgive me for saying this, but it is the truth. I want honest opinion from people. Do you know anyone who can assist me here in South Africa? Because in Zim, I do not know where I can go to with my father. Dear listeners, right there was a message that we received from our dear brother. Strange things do happen in this world, and yes, indeed, on social media, a lot of fake prophets and a lot of fake traditional healers are there that will steal your money.